What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Crew First Culture podcast. This is Jeremy, and I am very, very, I don't even know, I think the word is dejected right now. I just spent probably 40 minutes really emotionally charged conversation, basically with myself and the computer, because I'm trying a new recording program, and apparently I didn't push the recording button correctly. So I spent the last 5 minutes trying to tell myself, well, you need to do it again, even though I'm very irritated with it. But this is a very important message, and so I will try to pour that energy back into it. Thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it. So what what the thoughts are today, or just over the past couple years of doing what I've done, the podcasting and social media, instructing and stuff around. People ask you questions, and it's great that people ask you questions. I love when somebody, they have the respect or the faith in me to ask me something. Otherwise, why would you take the time to do that? But if you just look back over all the questions I've been asked, and the questions that I've heard other people doing similar things as me have been asked, I can't speak for them, but there's just overwhelmingly a huge area that just it seems like over and over and over again, these are the things that people are asking about. And just to give it, I just wrote down a few just to kind of give you an idea. But most of these questions revolve around something like this. How do you keep morale up around the stations when morale at other crews are low? How do you stay motivated when you feel like people are trying to beat you down? How do you keep pushing forward if you aren't the decision maker of the department? You're just a cog in a wheel. How do you keep going when so many factors seem to be against you? That's the overwhelming theme of so many of these questions. And it just tells you, it just goes to show how many people out there are struggling every day like me, who sadly work at the best job in the world, but who aren't as happy doing it as they should be. Most of these people, they're wanting to do great things, they're wanting to do good, they're wanting to be the best they can be, and the reason they're not happy is because there are people tearing them down, trying to bring them back down to minimum, trying to bring them back down to the level that they are so they don't look bad. They're getting, beat down by officers that are, they're too weak to accept that there's people that know more than they do. These are good people doing great things and the best job in the world. Why is there an issue? But there is, over and over and over again. And so I just wanted to go through an episode and kind of talk through some of these things that I've learned myself. And I say learned very, very loosely, because I am right now fighting these fights within myself right now. And towards the end, I'll kind of get into a little bit of that more. But I, for me, it all has to come down to a goal. Number one goal: how to do these things, how to keep going, how to not let all the negativity affect you. And that number one goal is to be at peace with ourselves, with the level of effort that we are giving. And so let me kind of maybe give a little more light to that. So what I mean by that is at the end of the day, oh, I'm a station officer, but really that doesn't mean anything for decision making other than if I wanted to make sure my favorite meals are cooked every night or something. That's about the only power I have. I don't have any decision making power for my department. So at the end of the day, I can't choose what equipment we use or what tactics we use or anything. I have what we have, and that's what we have. So for me, we have to really figure out what what it is that's important to us. And when it comes to those important things, we have to give effort towards them to feel emotionally okay with ourselves. At least I'm speaking personally. I can't say for ourselves, can't speak for anybody else. But for me, if things are important, if things are valuable, if things are things that I love or that I am close to, I want to take care of them. I want to be the best I can for them. I want to do whatever I can for them. And if I don't, if I'm not putting that effort into it, then it's going to affect me. I can't avoid that. It is going to affect me. And so that's the main goal. And as I go through some of these tips, we'll bounce back to that goal to kind of maybe give it a little more depth. But so the number one thing as an answer to those questions is we have to first pick our battles. I have been the young officer that fought every battle, that I would say tried to fight every battle. I griped about everything that needed to be changed in my eyes. I tried to push forward, areas that we needed to grow as a department. I tried to do a lot. I tried to fight everything. I tried to, you know, straighten out the things that didn't make common sense type battles, everything. So I quickly became the officer that was pinned as somebody that just has a problem with everything. Anything administration puts out, he's going to have a problem with it. That's just part of it. That's who I was. And being that person, I lost every bit of voice that I did have. I had nothing. I started out this conversation by saying I don't have much anyway, but when that's the person that you are viewed as by the actual decision makers, then you take away any credibility or any kind of influence you have. So I did. I lost all of that, and thankfully I I I figured that out. I started to fix that. I started to pick my battles. I started to forget about the superficial crap that doesn't really make a difference. Just let it go and save what voice I have, save what influence I have for the stuff that are truly important and impactful. And so that's something I definitely had to learn and had to learn the hard way. I had to basically build my reputation through the eyes of administration from nothing because I ruined all of it. And so that's the first step is we got to pick our battles carefully because going back to that goal at the end of the night, if we have a policy that comes out that says we can no longer wear t-shirts on calls, okay, I don't say anything about it. We just accept it and we move on like this is how life is right now. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem going to sleep. I don't have anything emotionally tied to that. That does not bother me. No effort is really required out of me for that because it's not a big deal. However, if we have a policy that comes down that I can see is going to negatively impact our care of the citizens, if I don't say anything about that, if I don't confront that issue, if I don't stand up for that and say, hey, this is not right, and just turn around, basically roll over and say, this is what the boss says and this is what we're going to do, no questions asked, I'm going to have a hard time with that. It's going to be heavy on me. It is going to emotionally impact me because I know I'm not doing the right thing. As much as I can, verbally say, well, it's it's what they told us to do, and so we've got to do what we're told. It doesn't matter. Emotionally, I am not doing the right thing, and I know even worse that I didn't do anything about it to fight it. I didn't do anything about it to speak up against it. And so that's where that goal comes into place, is on these things that are going to impact something important or serious. We have got to speak up for it. We've got to put effort into to making a difference there so that we have that peace. So that's the number one. So we have to pick our battles, because if we aren't picking our battles, if we're trying to fight every battle, then we're going to lose all of them. Pick your battles. Let the little stuff go. I know that's a lot easier said than done. Trust me. I promise you, I deep down inside, I still want to fight every one of them. Anything that doesn't make sense to me, or doesn't, affect anything, but you're still going to push power down on us just because you can. My my just gut instinct is to fight. So I get it. But we've got to save that for the truly important, impactful situations that need that. So that's number one. Number two is stand for something. Stand for something. I don't, and this is something that I have really started to see over the past couple years, is I don't think there is anything more frustrating and more just soul sucking than being under a leader that will not stand up for anything. Man, that is it's a dark place to be in, to be honest. It truly is, because you are alone. No matter how many levels of bosses there are above you, you are alone. You don't have anybody to stand up for you, who will fight the fight that needs to be fought. You have to do it yourself. Even though there should be a level or two of people fighting with you, with you know more more rank, more experience, more voice, you're the one doing it because you don't have that. That's an awful place to be. It is a place that I truly never ever want to put people that I lead in. Something that a good friend Brian sent me this week that really speaks of this. I've sent it to a few people. There's a several people that I really feel like I want to send it to, that need to hear this. But gosh, I'll probably read it a couple times because it's powerful. Georgia football coach Kirby Smart believes great leaders of any kind must accept three costs. So here we go. We must accept three costs. Number one, making hard decisions that negatively impact people you care about. Number two, being disliked despite attempts to do the best for the most. And number three, you will be misunderstood. So I want to go through those again because, like I said, this is a powerful statement that there are so many people out there that need to hear it and need to truly understand the responsibility that they are taking on. Leadership is not shiny and just something that is I don't know. It's not all happy and just something that's great and just you want to show it off all the time. Leadership is deep down, dirty, hard work. It's hard decisions. It's making people uncomfortable and mad and stretching people out farther than they want to go. It's believing in people when they don't believe in themselves. It's doing things that people don't want to do. There's nothing about leadership that is just all smiles and happiness. Leadership is hard. It that's all there is to it. If it's not hard, you're not doing it. And I've always been that person that I hate I hate the term weak leader or bad leader. I feel like you're either a leader or you're just another jerk. I don't know, but you're not a leader at all. Leadership is not something you do just for fun. It's not just something I do on the weekends to pass the time and to lower my stress. Leadership is hard. I want to go through it again. These are three things that we as leaders have to accept. Making hard decisions that negatively impact people that we care about. That doesn't make us bad leaders. We will make decisions that are going to negatively impact people that we care about. It's going to happen. There is no way around it. So we have to accept that that is part of the job. We cannot run from this. We cannot hide or duck or dodge these decisions that are going to negatively impact somebody we care about. We can't. It is our job to make the decisions that we have to make. Number two, being disliked despite attempts to do the best for the most. Same thing. It does not make you a bad leader. I'm sorry, but if you lead two or three or more people, chances are every decision you make is going to make somebody unhappy. You're going to have somebody dislike every single decision you make. What does that mean that you just don't have to make any decisions anymore then? That you can just pass it up the line? No. Leaders have to do this. This is part of the job. All we can do is we can make the best decisions that we possibly can make in the best interest for the most people. That's all we can do. And at the end of the day, when that is done, and when we can say, I'm at peace with that decision I made because I did it in the best interest of the most people, then that's all I can do. If I am disliked, I'm disliked. That is a part of the job that I have to accept. And number three, you will be misunderstood. It's pretty straightforward, right? You're going to be misunderstood. The only way to not be misunderstood is to not stand for anything, is to not push any new ideas, is to not challenge anything, to not push yourself out of the comfort zone. That's the easy way to never be misunderstood. Everybody will understand you then. You're that guy. You're that girl that is just there. They're just getting the check. They're just sucking up time. That's all they're good for. That is not leadership. So that's a very powerful statement. I want to share that as much as I can because it is so important that we stand for something. To make we have got to make ourselves stand up and speak out on these important issues. I'm not advocating on fighting everything, on civil war, on being disrespectful and disobedient and on and on and on. None of that. What I'm saying is when there is something that is challenging our standard of care, which is maybe causing us to not effectively do our jobs the best we can, big things, we have got to stand up for it and fight and try to make a difference because that is part of our job as leaders. Number three, this is something that kind of nowadays is a new term that recently over the past couple of years have heard is tactical withdrawal. We're not backing down. We're not being we're not just running from the situation. We're tactically withdrawing. And so we have to know when to tactically withdraw. We've got to learn when that is what needs to happen. Now, what I mean by that is on these situations that are big deals that we choose to stand for, we choose to fight for, we choose to voice our opinions and our reasonings and everything behind it. If we are hitting walls, if we are hitting people that just want to say, this is how it's going to be, this is how we do it, this is my choice because I am the boss, whatever. If that's where we get to, and we know anything beyond that is just going to end up getting us in trouble, there's got to be a point where we say, okay, it is now time for me to tactically withdraw from this statement or from this battle because I'm not going to do any more good than I have done right now. That goes back to our number one goal. So if it's something that is a very important issue and I don't address it, that's going to be weighing on me. I'm not going to have peace inside. I am going to be struggling through those things because I know that I didn't do what I needed to do to make the right choice or to do the best we can. I should have done more. But if there is an issue and I do speak up and fight for it and try to challenge and try to do everything I could, and I'm hitting walls, well, and I have to back out, at least I know I did everything I could. I'm not going to get myself fired over this, but I did do everything I could. So, no, things didn't change. No, things aren't the best that they could be, but I still have peace because I know I did everything I could. And that's the number one goal, right? Getting back to that goal, finding peace with our effort. And that will get me that peace. Even if nothing changes, I have peace. So after that, the next step is just train and game plan the best you can with whatever equipment or manning or crew or member, whatever, with whatever you got. At at the end of the day, again, we can't make decisions on what we have and how we use it. All we can do is do the best we can with what we have. And so if that's the choice that is made and nothing has changed, then okay, we're going to be the best we possibly can be with what we have. And that's it. And so going down to the last one, this is something I've truly struggled with over and over again. But we cannot allow outside influences, outside voices, outside negativity, outside anything ruin a good shift. Once we have relieved the shift that's going off before us and we are in that station, that's ours. We control that morale, we control the attitude, we control the work ethic and the fun and the enjoyment and the love. Don't allow outside influences to take that from you. I have I have allowed so many days and hours and it's just on and on, good shift days slip out of my grasp because I've allowed outside influences to take them from me. It's not, it was, I'm not blaming them. It's still my choice. I allowed it. I actively allowed that to happen. So I don't want that to happen. I want to make sure that once we're inside those walls, we control what's going on. And if that's the case, then we're going to have a good day. We're going to enjoy it. We're going to grow, we're going to get better, and we're going to do a great job because that's who we are. It doesn't matter what else is happening on around us. That's the power we have. You don't have to be a decision maker at the highest level to be that way. You just have to take control of your arena. You have to take control of the things that you can control, which is that small circle. Going back to where I said that I was going to touch on towards the end, I, I I want to say this very clearly right now so that there is no misinterpretation. I'm not preaching these things because I'm on the mountaintop preaching down to everybody else coming up. I'm not somebody that is the poster child of all this stuff. I'm preaching it because I know it's true. I know that this is the way that I can get up there, but I'm still struggling up that mountain myself, right beside you. I'm still fighting that fight every single day myself. I'm still asking the question every single day, how can I keep this going with everything else going on around me? So when I say these things, when I sit and record 30 minutes of myself talking, I'm really talking to myself. I'm not preaching to you about this is what I've done to get where I'm at, so you should do it too. I am preaching these are the ways that we can overcome this. I've done it before. I've done it to the point where I was in a great place and now I find myself right back at the bottom. Right back at the bottom. But the great thing about that is it's right there. I've done it before. I know I can do it again. And I know you can too. So I hope that something I said today gives you gives you some power, gives you some strength to keep fighting, gives you maybe a game plan on how to address some things. What I talk about, I talk about real stuff. That's all I care about. I don't care about surface level junk anymore. If I'm taking the time to sit down and record something, it's because I feel like there is something that needs to be shared within it. There's a lesson that needs to be learned from my mistakes. And that's exactly what I'm doing today. These are all things that I have learned over and over again through mistakes. And I'm somebody that, just making a mistake once isn't good enough. I like to really, really make mistakes over and over to make sure I make them really well. I'm not that person that says, well, I made a mistake once, I'm not going to do that again. That's not me. I like to make the same mistakes over and over again. I don't know why. I wish that wasn't the case. But what I do know is I know that there is a light at the end of that tunnel. I've been there. I just got to get back to it. And what I want is I want to bring some people with me, So if you are at the bottom of that tunnel, maybe you don't see that light, maybe you do. We can do it together. This is something that can be done. We are doing good things. We are good people. We are making a difference. And that's what helps us to be at peace with ourselves at the end of the day, because the effort we gave today might be the best we can do. We can't always win, but we can always give the best effort that we can. And that gives us the peace to keep carrying on. Thank you for your time. Like I've said here lately, and it's become such a powerful just motto for me, especially in the time that I'm going through right now. We refuse to lower our standards just because others will not raise theirs. Thank you.